On this week's edition of the Loud Nerd in the Basement podcast, I go over the new Spider-Noir trailer, updates for the new Battlefield movie, respond to James Gunn's updates for future DC projects, as well as the Call of Duty movie director having old comments come up about how much he does not like Call of Duty. All this and more on the Loud Nerd in the Basement podcast. Well, welcome to another Friday News Roundup edition of the Loud Nerd in the Basement podcast. I'm your host, Adam Zolnai. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you didn't know already, this podcast is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and of course Substack if you want to listen to it that way. However you may be listening, thank you so much for checking me out and giving me a listen. I really appreciate it. Seriously, either whether you're paid or free subscriber, I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. This has been a passion project the last few months, and I'm so excited to finally start turning it into hopefully a full-time business, which transitions me to my announcement that I have for this week, because as you know, I have to have an announcement every week. Otherwise, is it really a full podcast? So last week I announced my paid tier for my subscriptions. And just as a reminder, on that paid tier for $6 a month or $50 a year, you can ask questions that I will answer on these Friday pods. I actually have one today from one of our awesome paid subscribers that I'll be answering at the end of the show after the news. But in addition to that, you'll get spoiler reviews. So any big movies like Mandalorian and Grogu, Spider-Man, Supergirl, Disclosure Day, I'll have a spoiler-free review that will be for all subscribers, and then a spoiler-filled review for just the paid subscribers. But in addition to that, I've added one new thing for paid subscribers, and that is the Monday Rewind review. So starting May the 4th, on the first Monday of every month, I will be doing a rewind review of older movies and giving my thoughts on those ones that have been around for a bit. And one of the cool perks is you guys can, the people who are paid subscribers, you can submit movies that you wish for me to review. I will be sending out every Saturday morning a little note for anyone who's a paid subscriber. They can comment on their question for the Friday podcast, as well as a movie they'd like me to review. Now, if there's a spoiler review coming out on that Monday where a Monday Rewind review would normally come out, the spoiler review will come out first, and then the next week would be the Rewind review. And I'm doing these once a month just so it gives me time to watch the movie and get my thoughts on it, and then write the review. So that's why I'm only doing once a month, and then also if multiple requests back up, obviously it might take me a couple months to get through all the requests depending on what people are wanting me to watch. I only do movies right now, no TV shows, just because that'd be way too much watching for me. I barely have time to watch my normal shows as is, being a parent and all. That's, you have very limited time for stuff. But that's a new perk I wanted to just add for the paid subscribers. Again, thank you so much for your support, whether you're paid or a free subscriber. Both of you, all of you are awesome, and I really appreciate it. But without any further ado, let's get into the news, shall we? And starting off with a brand new trailer we got for the Spider-Noir TV show. As you probably already knew, this show is coming out next month on May 27th on Amazon Prime. It's produced by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the guys behind the Spider-Verse movies, the Lego movie, and more recently, as they made sure to smack right in the middle of the trailer, Project Hail Mary, which is great. Check out my review and check out that movie. Both are good. Movie may be a little bit better than my review, but art is all subjective. So, but the new trailer had a lot more action, a lot more special effects in this. Really, really love it. Love how they're leaning hard into the noir feel. They know what kind of show they're making. It looks awesome. We got our look at Sandman, Molten Man, Brendan Gleeson's Silvermane, and obviously a good healthy dose of Nick Cage being Nick Cage. And it looks like he's unleashing his full Nick Cage powers for this TV show, and I am all for it. We got a lot more Spider-Man action in this trailer. I love that. I love how the webbing comes out. It's very, and I don't know if this is effects or just a stylistic choice. I love how it looks more cartoonish and a little bit more stylized than even what we've gotten in the movies. We know that he has organic webbing in this show. Um, I love how they're not shying away from the like Nick Cage. We're making sure that it looks like Nick Cage is the one doing this stuff. It just looks great. I really one shot in the trailer I really liked was the shot where Nick Cage gets kicked off the building, I believe by Sandman. Oh yeah, and we got Electro and Man Spider in this. Man Spider looks creepy as all get out, and it's just like, huh, perfect visuals there. But Sandman knocks Ben Riley off the roof because in this continuity it's Ben Riley, not Peter Parker. For those of you who don't know, Ben Riley is the clone of Peter Parker from the comics, who also has spider powers and is the Scarlet Spider in the comics. But I think he's going to go by Spider-Man in this, or maybe the Spider, like in the Noir comics. But I really love the shot where Nick Cage gets kicked off the building by or punched off by Sandman, and you see him shoot his web. The thwip sounds something just out of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and the way they shot him swinging back gave me Sam Raimi vibes in a good way. Like obviously with much more modern effects, but it gave me that campy vibe. Like they're very leaning much into the fact like this is Nick Cage, this is Spider-Man. We're gonna take it seriously, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this, and even though I don't have an Amazon subscription right now, I may have to do the streaming just to watch this show for the 8 weeks that it's out because there's 8 episodes. It's going to be weekly, so that'll put us through early July, I think, if my math is right. Again, you don't come to me for math problems; you come to me for entertainment news. But overall, this show continues to look great, which is funny considering I didn't think it was a great idea because I was like, do we need a Spider-Man show? Like, I didn't know if like I knew Spider-Man could work on TV. The problem is the budget and the effects, but thankfully it is Amazon and they have just bottomless pits of cash to spend on the show, so it'll look good. Um, I'm excited. I really hope it turns out as well as the trailers seem to hint at it being. But moving on to our next piece of news, we have the Battlefield movie because we had the Call of Duty movie announced last week or a couple weeks ago. Can't remember now. Math, time, always moving. Uh, and attached to it are actually some big names. We have Michael B. Jordan and Christopher McQuarrie attached to this movie. Christopher McQuarrie, if you don't know, he's the guy who did Edge of Tomorrow as well as the last four Mission Impossible movies, and he helped with Top Gun Maverick. He's basically Tom Cruise's right hand man right now. Um, and then Michael B. Jordan is attached to produce and probably star. I would imagine he wouldn't want to just be a producer. He'd want to star in it. And then EA, who owns the license for the games, is also going to be a producer. It's currently being shopped to studios right now, so it's very early stage of development. But I mean, I don't know how I feel about this because just like the Call of Duty movie, I don't know how you separate this from any other military action movie, especially with having a Call of Duty and Battlefield movie coming out. I'm assuming within a year or so of each other, depending on how long this takes to develop. Because we know Call of Duty is coming out in 2028, so even if Battlefield comes out in 2030 or 2029, it's like I don't know how well they do. The games are able to differentiate themselves where Battlefield goes for. I mean, it's more gameplay style than stories. Like maybe Battlefield gets a little bit more grounded, while Call of Duty goes a little bit more cinematic with it. But at the end of the day, and maybe that just will offend Battlefield and Call of Duty fans. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it is, internet. I just don't know. I just don't know how well this will do. Christopher McQuarrie does good action movies. Like I love the Mission Impossible movies. Have great action. I've never complained about the directing or or sequencing in those movies when it comes to the action. So it'll look good, and Michael B. Jordan's a good actor, so it's not like he can't elevate whatever material he's given. But I just don't know how well the public will receive this. Like, I'm sure hardcore video game fans will accept it, but I just don't know how excited people will get in for this. It's not like a Halo or a Call or Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War where there's a specific characters and style to those franchises on top of the gameplay and as well as the stories. Whereas again, there's been good campaigns in Battlefield, just like there's been good campaigns in Call of Duty, but there's no iconic characters, especially in Battlefield, that I would say where it's like you think Battlefield, you don't think like they don't have their own Master Chief really. So I'll be interested to see what they end up doing with this because we had that movie Warfare that came out last year that was all about like being really realistic as to how the war in the Middle East was and what troops dealt with over there and really focused on the realism of that. So I would assume Battlefield and Call of Duty again, maybe more Call of Duty would probably lean more into the blockbuster, more Hollywood version of that. But again, I don't know how much you can differentiate those two. It'll be interesting to see. Again, I'm very much taking a wait and see approach with this, just like the Call of Duty movie. But speaking of Call of Duty, Peter Berg is going to be in some hot water whenever he's interviewed next because some comments that came up from a 13-year-old interview resurfaced, and it was him talking about Call of Duty. He said, and I quote, when asked about his take on war video games, he replied, quote, "Pathetic, pathetic. Keyboard courage. Can't stand it. The only people that I give a Call of Duty get out of jail free card to is the military. They're out there serving and they're bored and they want to entertain themselves. Okay, maybe kids, uh-uh." And then in addition to it, when he was asked about Navy SEALs playing those games, he said, "Some of them do, but I tell them I think it's pathetic. I think anyone that sits around playing video games for 4 hours, it's weak. Get out, do something." Now, obviously, this is from 13 years ago, and I would imagine that if he came to them with a pitch for Call of Duty, that maybe his thoughts on the franchise has changed a little bit. I would hope so. I hope this is not another case of a guy just taking a job and then taking a name brand and turning it into his own thing. But I mean, I think it's a very outdated way to look at video games. I'm a gamer myself, and I don't see anything wrong with me binge watching a show all day on Netflix or me playing video games for 4 hours. Obviously, as a parent, I don't have time to do much of either. But I just think this is a very outdated and immature way of looking at video games, especially with the stories and talent that's associated with video games now. And I mean, they're really coming into their own and getting their due now, especially now that Hollywood wants to mine them for stories. So I think I would like to think that he's changed his tune somewhat. He also has Taylor Sheridan. I was saying Tyler Sheridan last week a bunch. I don't know why. Maybe there's a Tyler Sheridan out there, but Taylor Sheridan, who's a good writer. So I think even if he has disdain for the project, or at least not as much enthusiasm, then maybe Taylor Sheridan's writing can kind of cancel that out. But again, I would like to think if he was pitching his idea for a Call of Duty movie that maybe his look has changed on Call of Duty and video games as a whole. We'll see. I mean, he's made some good military movies. He made Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, and I mean, he's a decent blockbuster filmmaker. I'm not gonna say I haven't seen a lot of his work, and what I have seen, like Battleship, I mean, it's not really anything to get excited about. But this will be a wait and see approach. I hope that this is not another case of somebody taking a job. I get someone comes to you saying, "Hey, for $6 million, direct this movie." I would direct a Teletubbies movie, if even if I didn't like, because I don't like Teletubbies, obviously. But if they offer me $600 or $6 million to do a Teletubbies movie, I'd be like, Sure, I will. But I would hope that you at least, even if you don't like the material, that you would research it enough to understand it. And so it's like, hey, I'm not asking for this dude to pick up a controller. Certainly don't want him to go play multiplayer because I think any view that he would have of Call of Duty would really sour at that point. But at least watch a playthrough, get an idea of what some of the campaigns are about, just to kind of get that Call of Duty vibe. I hope that's something he would at least try and do. But we'll see. Again, this movie's expected to come out in 2028, so we got a couple of years before we really get to make a final verdict on his work with Call of Duty. But speaking of the future, James Gunn had some updates on threads for some future DC projects. First of all, he said that Booster Gold is still in development, and I believe that is a TV show, which I'm excited for. Booster Gold's a fun character, and especially if you can reintroduce Blue Beetle, maybe even take the Blue Beetle that we got in the movie from 2023 that everyone forgot about, just kind of throw him in there. That'd be fun. Just kind of a buddy comedy action thing that'd be fun. And then Paradise Lost, which is a TV show um, set on Themyscira. It's supposed to be Game of Thrones esque, and it's before Wonder Woman's born. He said that is, quote, in extreme development, so it sounds like they're really chugging along on that one. I'm not the biggest fan of that idea. One, I don't think you have the diverse world of Game of Thrones that you wouldn't have the diverse world and locations for Themyscira the way you would in Game of Thrones. You don't have 7 or 8 different kingdoms on Themyscira. It's an island. It's supposed to be paradise. And I mean, the whole point, one of the points is that like it's sad when Wonder Woman leaves the island and knows she may never return because it's paradise. It's where her family is. It's where it's peaceful. And I just think I don't know how you could. I wouldn't want that getting changed so much just so we could have another Game of Thrones. What's the right word? Game of Thrones imitator on here. I mean, in concept, it makes sense. I just don't know. Just give me a Wonder Woman show or movie at this point, especially because we know Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie, is probably not coming till at least 2029. Um, Maybe 2028 if they're really fast with it, but they don't seem to be any rush there. And it's like at this point, what we're going to get a Justice League by what 2033, 34 if it keeps taking this long. So I'd much rather him just focus on getting Wonder Woman and Batman up and running now that we got Superman and his world really kind of chugging along. I mean, they're filming Man of Tomorrow, the Superman sequel right now, and Supergirl obviously is coming out in end of June. So I'd rather him just focus on the big name heroes than uh rather than do adjacent stuff to the big heroes. Again, it's kind of like the issue I had with like Gotham or whatever. It's like just give me a show or about the character that the show is hinting towards. Don't give me don't beat around the bush. Just give me what I want. But the biggest news of these updates was on the Authority movie. Now, the Authority, for those of you who don't know, it was a comic book in I think it was 2000 or 2001 by Warren Ellis and drawn by Brian Hitch. And the whole idea was it was basically anti-heroes and anti-Justice League. It's a more tame version of the boys where it's like these are selfish people with powers. They kill their villains. They do what they want and they happen to save the world every once in a while. And actually one of their members was in the Superman movie that James Gunn had directed last year. The engineer, the villain, one of the villains in the movie, she's from the Authority comic and from the Authority team. And I know many people had speculated that maybe Superman would lead into the Authority movie, but James Gunn has said, I quote, the script wasn't quite there, but more importantly, it didn't work in terms of the larger DCU, both in terms of the story and practical concerns. Maybe someday, not soon. And then he also said, sorry, I gotta scroll down. Honestly, Authority's been the one that's the hardest, both because of the shifting overall story and because of getting it right in a world with the boys and a world with all the things that the Authority influence that came out after it. And also having a lot of characters that we've fallen in love with that we've already filmed and we want to continue their stories and see them meet each other. So I will admittedly say it's a little bit more on the back burner right now. Honestly, I'm totally fine with this. I don't really need an Authority show. Maybe for Superman 3, we could do Superman versus the Authority or Superman versus the Elite, and you can just throw Engineer on that team again. Um, that would be fine. But even then, they kind of tackled some of the themes from that story in James Gunn's Superman movie, so maybe we wouldn't even need that. But I'm fine with this. Like he said, that we already have enough kind of edgy, dark superhero, movies and shows out there. I don't really need any more of it from DC, and especially in the direction they're going in. Like you said, focus on building out the characters, the main characters that we want to see. Again, especially because they have to wait until after the Batman Part Two comes out before they can release their version of Batman, which is why I keep saying at earliest we'll see it maybe 2029. I don't think it would come out in 2028 now that I think about it, just because that's still really soon after the Batman, and it's going to be fresh in a lot of people's minds, and unless it's complete garbage, you don't want people comparing it to your new Batman. So I think it's smart to wait, but again, we want Batman and Wonder Woman and some of these bigger names. We got Lantern, we got Green Lantern coming on HBO Max this August 16th, by the way, is they just announced a date for that. So starting to get the major heroes, and again, I'd much rather him focus on the major heroes than an ancillary group that is probably not going to have a big impact on the universe. The Authority is something you can do down the line if you want to, and like he said, that we were already kind of getting that edge lord anti-hero team in the boys and stuff like that. There's no need for this to come out, so I think that's a smart move, and I do really appreciate his approach to everything, where he's saying unless it's scripted and at a place where we're comfortable to start casting, we're not doing it. I think a lot of studios can really learn from that, and him willing to be flexible and say, hey, this isn't working, let's just put it to the back burner. I give him props for that, because you have studios that let their egos get in the way and push through it, and I appreciate that he's not doing that. But on to the other side of the comic book movie battle, I guess if you want to call it that. Kenneth Branagh talked this week about how he has a pitch for one more Thor movie if he were ever to do it. Obviously, Chris Hemsworth has hinted before that there could be one more after Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Again, we'll see what the MCU looks like after Secret Wars, because we know they're rebooting it in some form or fashion. But Kenneth Branagh said he would want to do a Logan style Thor story for Chris Hemsworth's final outing. He said, and I quote, "I'd always wanted to do more, and indeed had a couple ideas, more in the territory of James Mangold's brilliant Logan. I would love to see Chris Hemsworth and the others have their own individual final story that takes Thor into a glorious twilight." He says he says he's not involved. He said they're so far deep into the future of the Marvel universe that I'm sure whatever plans they have for it are already kind of set. I'm not against this idea. There are stories about like older Thor, very famously the Jason Aaron run that was used for Thor: Love and Thunder, or pun intended, butchered for Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm sorry, I'm very disappointed in that movie and how they used it. But in Jason Aaron's run, there is a time jump where we see like old man Thor with his daughters that he's had with, I believe, Sif, and like old Loki, and like it ends with him fighting Loki and taking him down one last time, and then I think they reconcile. I haven't read it. I just know of it. So that would be interesting, and it would be kind of cool to see Chris Hemsworth kind of flex his muscles, in his flex his muscles, his acting muscles. Excuse me. He doesn't need to worry about flexing his muscles. Uh, Flexing his acting muscles in a different way with the character of Thor, and kind of giving him even more somber and more weathered Thor than even what we've seen in like Infinity War or at the end of Ragnarok. That'd be interesting. Again, like Kenneth Branagh said, I don't know how that would work because the MCU is very much focused on like here's what where each thing fits in the timeline. So I think doing a time jump would not be something that Feige and the rest of them would really want to do. The X-Men were able to kind of get away with that with Logan because by the time Logan came out, one, we knew that Fox was being sold to Disney, and two, I mean, no one cared about that timeline, or it was already such a jumbled mess that no one no one was going to get upset of figuring out because they couldn't figure out how Logan fit in the greater X-Men timeline because it was all jumbled up so badly. Um, and because that movie was kind of a farewell to Hugh Jackman, people I think, I mean, the fact that it's a masterpiece, I really think so. It it really, I think people were willing to not care too much about the timeline issues, but I think with doing an old man Thor and time jumping like that, it could run into issues where it asks questions that I think Kevin Feige and the others at Marvel Studios wouldn't want to answer at that moment. So I don't think it'll happen. Again, I'm wondering if we'll even get another Chris Hemsworth Thor movie because I mean he's been playing the character for 15 plus years now. So I mean at some point I would imagine he'd want to do something else. But we'll see. We'll get our answers after Secret Wars, I think, at least a little bit. But moving on to our last piece of news, this isn't a huge. Well, it's a good piece of news. I wanted to end our news section on a bit of a positive note. Uh, Jurassic Park star Sam Neill shares positive health update. In 2023, he had been. He revealed that he had a rare form of cancer, T cell lymphoma, but he says now, thanks to his treatment, he is getting he's getting better and he seems to be in remission. There's no cancer in his body, he said. So I thought that was cool. And he says he wants to start acting again. And I like him as an actor. He's a fun actor and he seems like a really nice guy. So I just wanted to end on a little positive note of hey, congratulations Sam Neill. Screw cancer. So glad that he's doing better and I can't wait to see what he does next. But that ends our news section of the podcast, and I wanted to go into our subscriber questions. And I got one from our paid subscriber, Mr. Hyde. And again, if you want to be able to submit questions for the podcast, just become just upgrade your subscription by going to Substack, and you'll be able to submit questions every Saturday that I'll answer on the following podcast. But his question is, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for movies to be a success? There seems to be no rhyme or reason as to what hits and what flops. And I mean, this is a really good question, and it's true. I really do feel like, other than a few surefire bets, like okay, Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man, I think is going to make a lot of money in the box office this year. I think The Odyssey will do well because of Christopher Nolan, but overall, it does seem to be a flip of the coin as to what works and what doesn't. After thinking about it, I think the biggest thing is what is the film's first impression on the internet. I think that makes or breaks a lot of movies. Whether it's a still that gets leaked or shared or a full trailer, I think if the internet starts clowning around on a trailer or an image, then I think that's really bad news because that's a much harder uphill climb for that movie or show to win back the audience than something that comes right out. I mean, look at the Spider-Man trailer. Like we were chomping at the bit, and that trailer delivered. So I think it would take a lot for that movie to not do well at the box office grade. So if it is Spider-Man, but like look at like Oppenheimer or Barbie. Like the first trailers we got for those, people were like, "Oh man, like I got to see that." Even Project Hail Mary, like unless you were a book nerd, I feel like people didn't know about it that much. But that first trailer came out and word of mouth spread like wildfire. Like people were like, "Oh man, this looks great. Like this looks really cool. This looks like it'll be really fun." And then obviously the movie came out and did well. So I really think a lot of it is first impressions. And if the internet starts clowning on your show or movie, you're in big trouble. I mean, look at something like Madam Web. Like that trailer came out and people were clowning on it hard and it flopped. Or something like Snow White. Like take out all the culture war and Rachel Zegler of it all. We got that first leaked image of what were supposed to be the seven dwarves before they got replaced by those CGI monstrosities. And the internet dunked hard on it. And everyone was like, "What is this?" So I really think it's all about the first impression you make. Because if people are like spreading around, be like, "Dude, look at how amazing this is. We need to see this." Like, if you have a first good trailer or first good teaser image, I think that really can set you up for success. I mean, I don't think this is the only factor, but I think that's the biggest obstacle because of the internet world that we live in now. People will make memes of anything immediately as it happens. I mean, we get, press conferences by famous people or by celebrities, and within minutes of that happening, or within minutes of the image being released, it becomes a meme. And I really think it's the same way with movies. If that trailer or teaser image that they released is bad and the internet starts clowning on it, you're in trouble. Like it's going to take a lot for you to fix that. I mean, the Sonic movie with the original Sonic design was so bad and got clowned on so hard that they had to go back and redesign Sonic and delay the movie by like a year or something. And I mean, that was a rare instance of the studio recognizing its mistake and fixing it. A lot of studios have too much ego and pride to do that, so you'll see them power through and just try to ignore the elephant in the room. So I think that's it. I mean, again, I think there could be other factors, but I think the biggest factor is just the the first impression is the biggest thing because you only get one of those, and if it's bad, then it's going to be really hard for you to recover the audience and win them back. But thank you so much to Mr. Hyde for submitting that question. And again, thank you so much to the paid subscribers who have helped my Substack. I really appreciate it. And again, all you free subscribers listening and reading, I appreciate you too. Um, I thank you so much for that and for your support. But if you want to upgrade your subscription to paid, I would really appreciate it. Again, I'm trying to make this a business. I'm trying to earn some make money here and make this kind of my main main source of income for me. I would love to keep doing it, and again, you'll help pay for movie tickets so I can go see a movie and review it and have you read it. Thank you so much. But before we get out here, I'll let you know really quick what I'm watching. Daredevil season 2, or Born Again season 2, excuse me, just had its penultimate episode. Really good stuff. That show continues to be head and shoulders above what the original season was. A lot better than last season. I'm really looking forward to the finale, but also kind of bummed that it's ending so soon. A review for that will be coming out in a couple weeks. The week after the last episode comes out, I'll have a review out there on Wednesday. I'm also watching Maul Shadow Lord, and that's been fun. It's nice to have a little Star Wars show just to watch on a weekly basis. It's not life changing, but it's enjoyable. There's some really interesting new characters in it, like a police captain named Lawson. That's a really fun character. I've been enjoying that. Um, and I've been reading the Darth Revan novels, so I'm really in a Star Wars mood right now. And of course, we're coming up on May the 4th, so be on the lookout for that Monday Rewind review. Um, as far as what's on the Substack this week, I had an article about the future of the MCU after Secret Wars, whether the MCU should reboot or not completely. Spoilers, I believe they should. Read the article to find out my full thoughts as to why. Next week's article will be kind of a sequel to this one, and it's me pitching my ideal, what I would like to see as Phase One for the new MCU after Secret Wars. I give movies and TV shows that I want to see and what they would culminate into. So it was a lot of fun to kind of speculate and give my own pitch and idea for it. I hope you enjoy reading it. And as always, like I said, thank you so much for listening and subscribing. I will be back next week with more news. Bye.